Well, the very funny Jeremiah Hughes right here.
All right. One more time for Vince, everybody, huh? Good to be here in Edmonds, Washington. You guys look very good. Thank you for coming out and enjoying live stand-up comedy. I mainly emphasize it's good to be at Edmonds because I come from a poor little town called Aberdeen, Washington. Okay. Yeah, you can smell the poverty on me, sir. It's not good. For those of you that don't know, Aberdeen, Washington's a poor little town where Kurt Cobain and Nirvana came from. Yeah. Thank you. It's a town so dirty and poor, it actually created grunge music. You're welcome. So, yeah. And people that don't know, like, Aberdeen, they always think Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, right? And it always bugged me as a kid growing up there because we had more going for us in Aberdeen. Like recently, Aberdeen, Washington was voted the ugliest city in Washington, so, for the third time in a row. So, don't come for our title. You will get robbed at needlepoint, guys, okay? Gotta let that one settle a little bit, yeah. I heard Vince make a fentanyl joke and you guys laughed, so I knew you were cool, so. I was like, yes, they'll like me just fine, all right. Yeah, it's fun, dude. Like, you know, people that don't know I come from an area like that will take one look at a guy that looks like me and they'll be like, hey man, you need to check your privilege. Because not everyone's from a gated community, jerk. I'm always surprised. I'm like, dude, how did you know I'm from the only gated trailer park in Aberdeen? The only other gated community where I come from is called Stafford Creek Penitentiary, so. I do shows all over. I love doing comedy. I was in Spokane performing at Spokane Comedy Club not too long ago, and I said I was from Aberdeen, Washington, and everybody pointed and laughed at me. You know how bad your hometown has to be for Spokane, Washington? Man. I do all sorts of different like fundraiser benefit shows. I did a benefit show for a prison one time. It wasn't Stafford Creek. They wouldn't let me. I knew too many people there. I was doing a prison show. It was a lot of fun. I said I was from Aberdeen, Washington, and I actually got a standing ovation. So we're appreciated somewhere is all I'm trying to say. It's a good place. I don't know, man. Like when I was performing in the prison, people inevitably would want to come up to me and they'd want to tell me their affiliation with Aberdeen. Like this guy came up to me at the prison show and he was like, hey man, I know Aberdeen. That's where I was arrested at. And I was like, maybe not be as proud. Also, so was I. What's up, bro? In summary, my hometown has a motto. It's a Kurt Cobain song. It's come as you are, you know. But I think that's a really bad motto because we're full-on mutants. Don't come as you are. I think if I had to pick the hometown motto, I'd pick something fun and creative, but also brutally honest. Like, I think the hometown motto for my hometown should be, welcome to Aberdeen. We put the win in heroin. Aberdeen's such a small little town that when they voted for the hometown motto, they got to let everyone that was a resident vote on the hometown motto. And although they probably couldn't use it, my favorite was what came in second place. Because that one was shoot for the stars, not your veins, Aberdeen, Washington. So, we know how to have fun, you know? Growing up in that little poor area, man, like my dad, he was an EMT, he was an ambulance driver. And so when I was a kid, the way he described his job to me was he said that driving an ambulance is a lot like driving a taxi, except you don't get the tips. Which is a shitty analogy, right? I don't think driving an ambulance is anything like driving a taxi. Like, could you imagine if ambulance drivers took tips? And you're getting rushed to the hospital and you just see that little window slide open to the front? And my dad's like, yeah, this iPad's gonna ask you a question. What's the question, Brian? It's always a tip, that's what they want. I got aggressive there, I'm sorry. I don't know. You gotta tip an ambulance driver too, dude. Can you imagine saying no to a tip, being rushed to the hospital, and then you just feel the ambulance slow down? You gotta tip, dude. Like, I don't think driving an ambulance is anything like driving a taxi, but I do think driving an ambulance is a lot like driving DoorDash. Because the whole goal of either of those is you got to get the delivery there before it gets cold. Jesus Christ, calm down. You got like a full-on applause break for a dead guy. We could party, that's fun. That's always a good barometer to see how cool you guys are, so you're in safe hands. I love comedy, man. I love getting paid to do comedy. I've had a lot of different jobs in my life, which is just a polite way of saying I've been fired a lot. I got fired from a job one time for drinking and working. I got called in the bot, you too, but it was audible. Yeah, that was out loud, by the way. She was like, yeah. Anyway, I got fired for drinking and working, and I got called in the boss's office like, Jeremiah, you can't be drinking and working. And I'm so fun. I'm like, who's working, you know? I've had a lot of different jobs in my life. Like probably one of my favorite jobs I ever had was I worked at a daycare for a little while. You look terrified at that. It was fun, man. I don't have kids, but I learned really quickly there's two main types of kids. There's kids that hate getting dizzy and kids that freaking love getting dizzy. As I call those kids the future alcoholics of America. Because those group of kids are just like regular alcoholics. They do not know when enough is enough. I'll be getting them dizzy and they're like, whoa, again, I do it again, you know? I gotta give big life lessons at daycare, dude. I gotta like lean down and be like, Billy, we puked twice. We're getting close to what we call a blackout, okay? Now what we're gonna wanna do from personal experience, buddy, is we're gonna wanna lay down and take a nap. Because if we keep going, we're gonna shit our pants and get arrested, okay? Okay, we got an applause break in the back for shitting your pants, that's cool. You guys are fun, this is fun. I'll keep talking about jobs, why not? I've had, my favorite job I've ever had, I sold weed for 12 years. I don't know if you can tell by my accent, but I'm a big stoner, dude. And you hear a lot of weird things selling weed in Aberdeen. Like this guy came up to me one time and he was like, hey man, I need the type of weed that's the closest I can get to smoking crystal meth. Yeah, dude, I didn't think I had to tell people I sold regular weed, you know? Like I sell the type of weed to make you want to stand in front of your fridge naked. Not the type of weed to make you want to take apart your fridge naked, you know? You guys are silly, that's fun. Man, yeah, I've had a crazy like little experience in the last few months. I won't go into detail. I had a health scare. Had to go to the hospital, stay in the hospital for a little while. It's really expensive shit too, man. It's crazy. I have no money. They sent me a big fat bill and I had to get a hold. And if you guys are ever in debt, be it medical debt at a hospital, know this. You can apply for something called financial assistance. And what that is you go to the hospital and you're like, hey, this $250,000, don't have it, I'm poor. To which the hospital goes, prove it. You gotta prove it. You gotta send in all your pay stubs just for you to be like, yeah, dude, I am hopelessly poor. For them to review your pay stubs, for them to be like, oh yeah, you are, for sure. Cut them a check, boys. Okay, you guys are rich, I can tell, ouch. Wrong crowd for that joke, Jesus. We talk about shitting my pants again. You guys back on board? All right. Let's change gears here, man. I recently celebrated 7 years with my lady. She's awesome. I love her very much. Thank you. She's fun. She's fun. She's adventurous. Like she keeps me on my toes, you know? Like she likes her food, like she likes her sex. Spicy. Just like the food, the sex, it leaves my ass hurting in the morning, guys. So. All right, I was testing the waters, just saying. She's fun though, man. Being with someone for 7 years, you learn a lot about different personality types, you know? Like I think probably the funniest thing about me and my lady is a lot of the times the gender roles are reversed, you know? Like she's a tough lady. Like she likes to work on her old Honda Civic for fun. And I like scented candles, you know? Different people. Opposites always attract, man. She's a tough lady. She'll say stuff like, I ain't going to no doctor. And I went to the hospital one time for coughing too hard from a bong hit. So, she was raised by a hardworking single dad that had no feelings, didn't teach her how to talk about anything. I was raised by a therapist mom. I don't know why that was funny, sir, but I'm kidding. It's funny because I said I was in a trailer park when I grew up, and you're like, that doesn't make sense. Your mom's a therapist and you live in a trailer park? I never said she was a good therapist, okay? But yeah, man, she did teach me how to talk about my feelings and express things. And so, stuff always gets lost in communication sometimes. Like, for example, when we fight, I'll be like, I love you. We can't go to bed angry. We got to work this out. And she'll be like, thank you. I'm not going to bed angry. I'm going to the bar. Screw you. Different people, But being with my lady for 7 years, I had to pick up new hobbies, Like every fella, when you're with someone for a long time, you guys kind of meld together, you pick up new hobbies together. So I picked up a new hobby recently. It's flirting with dudes. How's it going, handsome? You look good. Yeah. Relax. It started out as a joke, but then I quickly realized how badly men need compliments. Because the default reaction anytime I hit a stranger and be like, hey, what's up, handsome? They're always like, me? Stop it, for real? And the older the dude, the more they appreciate the compliment. Like I said, was cooking good looking to an old guy the other day, and he kissed me and gave me a hug. What was that, dude? It's assault, that's what that was. Here's a PSA for the ladies in the crowd. Dudes are starved for attention, right? For example, that's why we sneeze so freaking loud, okay? It's a cry for help is what it is. Next time you see a dude sneeze at the top of his lungs, don't say God bless you, give him a blowjob. That's what he needs, okay? So, ooh, naughty. Half my family's from Montana, man. So when I was a kid, did you say sorry? That's okay, man. I was hit, I got over it. When I was a kid, they would take me to the family ranch in Montana at 12 to learn how to buck hay and scoop shit and be a man. One of my least favorite chores at the end of a long day at the ranch in Ekalaka was I had to give my aunt a shoulder massage. Yeah, which was one of my least favorite chores because after a couple whiskeys, she got a little into that shoulder massage. Yeah, dude, if I hit that knot just right, she'd lean back and she'd be like, ooh, yeah. Which I don't know why she was Macho Man Randy Savage in that impression, but that's the way it felt, dude. It was really weird. Like, I don't know what the hardest part of that was besides me, okay? I saw your face. It's just a little Montana humor. Relax, it's all right. Seriously, at 12, I didn't have the communication skills to tell my aunt, please stop. That makes me wildly uncomfortable. So I did the only thing at 12 to make it stop that I could think of, which is make it extremely uncomfortable for both of us. And so when I hit that knot just right and she leaned back and she was like, oh yeah. I just leaned in her ear and I was like, yeah? And that worked way too well, dude. She still has not talked to me, so. All right, interesting. You pulled back pretty hard on that one. All right, that's. Oh man, you guys are a lot of fun though. I'm gonna leave you guys on one of my favorite jokes. It's about my family. My dad's a hard guy to get along with, and nobody knew that better than my mom. Like my mom would take me to her friend's house, Eric, and Eric is a kind, sweet, loving guy. He's the opposite of my dad. So the feelings I had for Eric were really confusing as a kid. Like one day I went up to my mom and I was like, Mom, I think Eric should be my dad because I love Eric more than Dad. She handled it super well. She was like, shh, I love him more than Dad too, don't mess this up, okay? Which is extra funny as an adult because I got a paternity test done and Eric is my dad. So. All right guys, that's my time. Thank you very much.